Alrighty, folks, once again, it is Wednesday, June 28th, 2023. We're still feeling pretty good on a Wednesday because we're coming off yet another winning day of personal sports bets on my website yesterday. We cashed in on the Giants, Rangers, Guardians, and Angels. And the only way you could have accessed all those winners is to be a chairman member on my website. Chairman members get access to every single personal play of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you also get access to my Chairman podcast absolutely free. It's included with your purchase. Now, if you don't want to access multiple winners a day and you only need one, well, boy, do I have a package for you. It's my daily best play, and it only costs just $1.99 for 30 days of service. Now, of course, you may be wondering what the difference is between what I do here on YouTube and what I do on my website. Well, what I do here on YouTube is I'll handicap the entire slate of games in any given sport, side, and total. And what I do on my website is I actually share with you which one of these free plays on these videos that I'm actually betting on personally. I currently have over 570 members who are signed up and active on my website right now. I'm currently 67% my last 18 daily best plays, 67% my last 24 extra daily bets, 77% my last 26 Major League Baseball tier package plays, 63% my last 105 board member tier package bets, and finally I'm hitting at 74% in my last 19 chairman plays. And of course, my current win-loss record in all of those packages, it's documented on my website. It's a safe and secure website as well, guys, so all of your info is secure. I don't even see any of it. The only thing I can see is your email address and whatever name you provide. A lot of folks just put phantom names like Poopy Boy and, Capper96 and all that good stuff. But I'll tell you what, the guys over at Patreon, they run a really good platform. I'm very thankful they can create such a good website for me and for you to produce content on. And the greatest thing about using Patreon, whenever I make a post, that post actually goes right to your email after the first day. So the picks actually go right to your inbox one day after you sign up. So very easy and convenient. We also have a great support team as well. Anyway, let's go ahead and dive into our part 2 video. We're going to start off with the Marlins at the Red Sox, 7:10 Eastern first pitch. Miami's minus $1.20. We still don't have a number on the total yet. The total's still off the board. Braxton Garrett on the mound for Miami, and no confirmed starter yet for Boston. I got to imagine they're going to post that here pretty soon, but right now I have no confirmed starter yet for the Bo Sox. But I'll tell you this much, regardless of who throws out the first pitch, Boston gives up a lot of runs at Fenway. They're actually in the bottom 5 in the American League in runs allowed at home. They're also facing one of the toughest teams to get out. Miami's got the 5th highest team batting average in the National League right now. Luis Arias, he's the league leader with a .399 batting average. He's also got the 4th highest OPS average as well. He actually goes teetering back and forth between the high 300s and 400s with batting average. Anyway, Jorge Soler, he's the club leader in home runs and RBI. And even if the Marlins bats go cold, they are in good hands with Braxton Garrett on the mound. He's recorded just 2 losses in 76-plus innings. The lefty's also got an ERA in the 3s along with 90 strikeouts. Now, Garcia's out for the Fish. McGuire and Reyes inactive for Boston. Masataka Yoshida is also questionable to suit up today for Boston. Give me the Marlins minus $1.20. Next contest, Brewers, Mets, 7:10 p.m. East. The New York Mets are minus $1.55 in Flushing, Queens. Totals 8.5. Kodai Senga for New York. Wade Miley for Milwaukee. Now Miley's 5-2 with an ERA in the 2s. He's also got a stingy 1.03 whip. And in their last 10 meetings with the Mets, the Brewers have had little issues touching home plate. They average over 5.5 runs a game during that time frame. Christian Yelich, he's the club leader in hits. Anderson and Adames have 70 RBI between the both of them. Now they're facing Kodai Senga on the mound, and he's certainly had some control issues this year. The righty's walked 44 batters and already has a 1.34 whip. And even if Senga throws well today, the Mets have struggled at the dish at Citi Field. They're a bottom 5 hit producing team on their own diamond. 3 out of New York's last 4 in Flushing, Queens stayed under the total. They're also 60% to the under in their last 10 at any location. Meanwhile, Milwaukee saw the under cash in 6 out of their last 10 themselves. Give me the Brewers plus 1.5, under 8 and a hook. Next contest, Astros Cardinals, 7:45 East. St. Louis is minus $1.20, totals 9. Miles Michaelis for St. Louis, Christian Javier for Houston. And out of 83 innings of work this year, Christian Javier has recorded only 1 loss. He's 7-1 with an ERA of 3.25. Now, these Houston pitchers have been tough to hit on the road. They allow just 7.4 hits a game in their travels. That actually puts them in the top 3 in the bigs in that category. They're facing a St. Louis club who's 7 games below 500 at Busch Stadium. Their pitching staff allows over 10 hits a game there. Miles Michaelis is also just 4-5 on the season with an ERA in the 4s. Now, injury-wise, Yordan Alvarez is still out for Houston. Jose Altuve is questionable. When it comes to the total, Houston saw the over cash in 6 out of their last 7 Christian Javier starts. Houston also went 60% to the over in their last 10. Meanwhile, St. Louis on the other side, they are 25-15 to the over at Busch Stadium. Give them the Astros plus $1, over 9. Next contest, Tigers Rangers, 8:05 East. Texas is minus $2, totals 8.5. Dane Dunning for Texas, Joey Wentz for Detroit. And Wentz is just 1-8 on the season with an ERA close to 7. The Tigers also can't hit for shit. They average fewer runs per contest than any other lineup besides Oakland. Now they're facing Dane Dunning on the mound here today for Texas. He's been really tough to hit. Dunning's recorded just 1 loss in 71-plus innings. He's actually 6-1 on the year with an ERA in the 2s. And even if Dunning stinks, he's got the best hitting lineup in baseball behind him. Corey Seager's hitting .345 with an OPS in the thousands. Adolis Garcia has the second most RBI in the majors. Now, Brad Miller's still out for Texas. Riley Green still inactive for Detroit. 3 out of the Tigers' last 4 road games did get over the total. They're also 60% to the over in their last 10 at any location. Texas is 28-11 to the over at Globe Life Field. Give me the Rangers minus 1.5, over 8.5 runs. Next ball game, it is going to be Phillies Cubs, 8:05 Eastern first pitch. Philadelphia is minus $1.25, totals 8.5. Aaron Nola for the Titans, Drew Smyly for Chicago. Now, Smiley's 7-4 with an ERA in the 3s. The Cubs have also done a pretty nice job at the plate when they're at Wrigley. They're currently a top 10 run-producing team at home. Nico Horner is the team leader in hits and RBI. Meanwhile, Chris Morel's got 13 homers and an OPS of .941. They're facing Aaron Nola on the mound for the Phils. He's got a handful of losses and an ERA of .438. Meanwhile, as a team, the Phils took the loss in 5 out of Nola's last 8 starts. They got shut out twice during that span. And speaking of offensive woes, the Phils are no stranger to swinging and missing. These guys are striking out 9.2 times a game at the plate, nearly double-digit strikeouts per contest. Now, Wisdom and Rios are still out of the lineup for Chicago. When it comes to the numbers, Chicago saw 3 out of their last 5 at Wrigley get over the total. They also went 5-3 to the over in their last 8 Drew Smyly starts. Philadelphia went 70% to the over in their last 10 Aaron Nola starts. Give me the Cubs plus 105, over 8.5. Next contest I have for you, it is going to be Guardians at the Royals, 8:10 Eastern start time. Cleveland's minus $1.20, totals 9.5. Logan Allen for the Guardians, Austin Cox for Kansas City. And even though Cox has looked really good in limited action, you got to consider the fact he's got just a dozen innings of work under his belt. That is it. He's also pitching for the second worst franchise in the league right now. The Royals, they average only 3.7 runs a game offensively. Now, they're going to have to face Logan Allen on the mound, who's got only 2 losses in 58-plus innings. The lefty's also got 58 strikeouts and an ERA in the 3s. Now, at the plate, you just can't strike these guys out. The Guardians strike out fewer times a game on the road than any other lineup in baseball. They are the best in the league in that category. You cannot punch them out. Doing a great job making contact. Now, Matt Beattie and Michael Massey are both still out for the Royals. 6 out of Cleveland's last 10 outings did fall under the number. They're also 67% to the under against American League opponents on the road. Give me the Guardians minus 120, under 9.5. Next ball game, Dodgers, Rockies, 8:40 p.m. East. This game's currently off the board. Kyle Freeland for the Rockies, Michael Grove possible for LA. And if Grove gets the start, well, he hasn't been great. Out of 32 innings of work this year, Grove's yet to record a W. He's also got an ERA of 7.59. Now, as a team, the Dodgers have had a real tough time cashing in on the run line recently. They failed to cover in 7 out of their last 10 run line plays. They're facing a Rockies team who got the outright W in 2 out of their last 4 themselves. They also do a real nice job hitting the baseball at Coors Field. Colorado's a top 5 hit-producing team on their own diamond. Ryan McMahon's the team leader in hits and RBI. Meanwhile, Elias Diaz and Zeke Rovar, they have 114 total bases, respectively. That's not combined. Now, injury-wise, Blackman and Bryant are still out. CJ Cron should be available now. Give me Colorado plus 1.5. Next matchup, White Sox at the Angels, 9:38 Eastern start time. The LA Angels are minus $120, totals 8.5. Jaime Barria for Los Angeles, Lucas Giolito for Chicago. And even though Giolito is back to his old form, he has lost 5 games this year, and he does not have a winning record. Now, when it comes to offensive production, the Sox have had all kinds of problems at the plate. They're a bottom 5 OPS team in the bigs. They're facing Jaime Barria, who's been pretty good on the mound this year. He's got an ERA of 2.14 and a stingy 1.06 whip. That's actually, it's not pretty good. It's very good. Now, the Angels are also a top 5 run-producing team in the American League. Shohei Ohtani leads the majors in homers and OPS. Mickey Moniak's hitting .317 with an OPS in the thousands. Rendon and Neto are still out for Los Angeles. Moncada and Gonzalez inactive for Chicago. When it comes to the number, 4 out of Giolito's last 6 starts got over the total. Meanwhile, Los Angeles, they averaged over 8 runs a game in their last 3 Jaime Barria starts. Give me the Angels minus $120, over 8.5. Next contest, Yankees Athletics, 9:40 p.m. East. New York's minus $150 on the road, total 7.5. Domingo Germán for New York, J.P. Sears for Oakland. Now, the A's did cash in on the run line in 5 out of J.P. Sears' last 7 starts. And more recently, the A's did cover the run line in 3 out of their last 4 on their home field. Now, starting pitcher J.P. Sears, he does have himself plenty of strikeouts on the season. He's actually punched out 80 batters in 83-plus innings, averaging just about a strikeout an inning. The lefty Sears also has a stingy 1.03 whip. A lot of folks not talking about the A's with good reason. But Sears, I tell you, certainly some good, trade value, good stock there. I don't know if they're going to deal him or not, but Sears is looking pretty good. Now, he's facing a Yankee roster who just can't hit the baseball. New York's in the bottom 3 in hits per game. And if you think they can just walk their way on and be patient at the dish, well, think again, because New York's in the bottom 5 in walks per 9 on the road. They just don't get base runners. Now, starting pitcher Domingo Germán, he's kind of given these guys like zero help. He's just 4-5 on the season with an ERA in the 5s. Aaron Judge will still be out a while with that toe. Allen and Calhoun and Peraza are also inactive. 8 out of New York's last 10 outings stayed under the total. Oakland went 7-3 to the under in their last 10. Give me the A's plus 1.5, under 7.5 runs. And with that, folks, we're going to jump into our next and final matchup for the video. It's going to be in the Rays D-backs contest, 9:40 p.m. East. Tampa Bay is minus $1.50 on the road, totals 9.5. Zach Eflin for Tampa Bay, Zach Davies for Arizona. Now, Davies is having a fairly shitty year. He's just 1-4 through 35 plus, with an ERA close to 8. Now, the D-backs took the loss in their last 3 straight Davies starts, and they allowed a staggering 35 total runs in those losses. Now, they're facing a Rays lineup who can score with the best of them. These guys average more runs a game than any other club in the AL East. Yandy Diaz is a top 10 batting average and OPS guy. Meanwhile, Randy Arozarena is in the top 10 in the American League in runs batted in. And even if the bats go cold here, Tampa's got a good one in Zach Eflin on the hill. The righty's 9-3 with a 1.03 whip. Now, Eflin's punched out 84 batters in just 83 plus. Brandon Lau is still out for Tampa. Taylor Walls is questionable. When it comes to the total, Tampa Bay went 80% to the over in their last 10. They're also 60% to the over against National League opponents. Now, the D-backs saw their last 3 straight at Chase Field get over the total themselves. Give me Tampa Bay minus $1.50, over 9.5. And with that, folks, now it's time for our quick pick recap. Give me the Atlanta Braves minus 170, under 10 runs. Seattle Mariners minus 1.5, over 8. Baltimore Orioles minus 165, over 9.5. I'm hitting at 67%. And my last $18.99 daily best plays on my website. And the good news is I have another $1.99 daily best play going off here today for just $1.99 for 30 days of service. San Diego minus 165, under 8. Give me the over 8.5 in the Giants-Blue Jays game. Miami Marlins minus $1.20, getting the job done for some money line cash. Milwaukee plus 1.5, under 8.5 runs. Houston Astros plus $1, over 9. Texas Rangers minus 1.5, over 8.5. Chicago Cubs plus 105, over 8.5. Cleveland Guardians minus $1.20, under 9.5 runs. Give me Colorado plus 1.5, getting the job done for some run line cash. LA Angels minus 120, over 8.5. Oakland A's plus 1.5, under 7.5 runs. With my next and final free pick, give me the Tampa Bay Rays minus $1.50, over 9.5. For that, folks, that's going to do it for me. Got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. If that's guys, happy Wednesday to you. Happy hump day to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.